And we're back. I just double checked everything. I unplugged everything and I plugged it back in. And this seems to be working okay. At least it tells me it is. So there's that. So I'll rely on you guys to let me know once we get everyone back in the family here. But guys, as always, I want to thank our last two sponsors. I think that's when my mic cut out. stjudehouse.org. They do the nonprofit work here in the region around domestic violence. They are just doing fantastic things for not a very good topic that no one wants to talk about, right? So they have a mobile advocacy program where they get out and about, they meet survivors and victims, and they talk to them about what they need. So please support stjudehouse.org. Also, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've got their new line of Jeeps out, including the new Wagoneer, all with four-wheel drive. We know it's coming. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, good place to go. Yeah, Jay, good to be back with you. Maxwell, thank you. I got this alert, which I've never gotten through our broadcast stuff we use, which is called StreamYard here. And it said your microphone, it was like a two-page paragraph on what was wrong with my microphone. Something cut out. I don't know if it's going to do it again. Technology is always on our side, right? So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I certainly appreciate you guys being patient. So we'll jump back in here and hopefully you guys can hear me. So thanks for letting me know you couldn't hear me because I can't tell. I'm just talking. There you go. All right. Very good. Phoebe's back with us. Yes, thank you, sponsors. Appreciate that. Jay's with us as well. Maxwell's back. We'll see who else joins here or who quit on us. That's okay. All right. I want to dive into the weather forecast here. So the pattern, obviously, it's just been kind of a gross weekend. Let's just be honest. It hasn't been the best of weekends. We've had lake effect rain around. A lot of us had kind of dried out today. The lake effect kind of backed off a little bit. But you see here the last 6 hours or so on satellite, we've got a general trough across the eastern. This cold air goes all the way down into areas like Atlanta, Nashville, Biloxi, Birmingham. All those areas are experiencing this chill. But the lake effect backed off because there wasn't really a steering wind across the lake. But there's this secondary boundary. You see these clouds being picked up here coming straight out of the northeast. What a weird direction, right? But these winds are associated with kind of a secondary trough that's coming in. And what this is going to do, we're already seeing it out towards the east. This is going to kick up our lake effect showers again. So we're not done with them yet. You can see the rain kind of with this initial push coming across areas of Michigan. It's coming from the northeast. Again, it's very rare that I say that. That's a weird direction. But as this trough heads across Lake Michigan, it's going to pick up some moisture. And I would expect we're going to have kind of a rainy start to our Monday tomorrow with lake effect kind of reigniting across the region. All right. You could see it doing its thing across New York and Ohio and areas towards Detroit. And it's kind of interesting how this evolves. The models don't handle this well right now. So they do not handle the lake effect setup now. If they did, you would see rain on the latest HRRR up in Michigan as this trough kind of comes across the lake. All right. So we're going kind of off model here, but I agree with where it ends up. So as that trough comes across the lake tonight, I would imagine not only do we get a couple showers out of that as the actual trough goes through, but we're going to develop some lake effect bands overnight into tomorrow morning. And all indication is that we have a stout, this is during the day tomorrow. You notice this band that's developed on a north wind. Wind converges over the lake. So, wherever that converging point is where the air lifts up the most. And it does it at points all the way through the lake. And that's what creates that lake effect band with that cooler air coming across, right? So where does that band set up? That's the big question. All indication on all the modeling is that this band sets up in either eastern Illinois with a slight northeast component to it, or in Lake County tomorrow, all right? So this is 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's noon. And notice this decent band of lake effect rain that we have, which could be heavy at times wherever it sets up. The model's indicating mainly areas of Lake County and then eventually shifting a little bit out towards the east, hitting areas of Porter and LaPorte County before it all winds down. But I'll take you back through it. You can see that's a pretty pronounced lake effect band of rain. If this were snow, this would be a real good band of snow as well. But thank goodness it's not. But we're going to see real good convergence out over the lake. So we're not done with the lake effect rain yet. We're going to keep lake effect rain in the forecast, developing again tonight and then continuing tomorrow. Probably continuing tomorrow night and then winding down as we get into the daytime Tuesday. The winds will finally push this thing out. So lake effect rain will be around. Outside of that, we'll still have pretty decent cloud cover. There's just cool air all across the Great Lakes, all the way down towards the Gulf Coast, as I mentioned. So, could we see some peaks of sun in this? We certainly could, but I think most of us here in the region will be experiencing some kind of influence from this lake effect band, either of the rain or lake effect clouds tomorrow. Okay. So we stay kind of cool both those days. But then eventually we say goodbye to this. All right. And once we say goodbye to it, we're going to have a very fast moving pattern again across the eastern US. And we're going to get things going. And all indication as we go long range, and that's kind of where I want to jump into right now, outside of our lake effect the next 2 days, all indication is that we develop kind of a similar pattern as we get into the weekend. All right. And we have not had good weekends. And if you remember 2 weeks ago, it was, well, actually 3 as of today, on Region Weather Live, I said, I did research on how many weekends do we get that were actually in the 70s and even 80s and sunny. So how many nice October weekends do we get? And we average about 25% of those. All right. So 1 in 4 October weekends every year on average is a nice weekend with sunshine and warm temperatures. All right. Most of the other weekends contain rain of some point or cold temperatures. All right. Those are the two that I said, hey, those aren't good weekends for fall fests and all that stuff. So we had that real nice weekend to start October, to end September, start October, right? All the weekends since have been either on the cool or we've had the lake effect rain around. Isn't that amazing? And it looks like next weekend we're going to have more of the same, unfortunately. All right. So there's your 1 out of 4 weekends, right? 25% of the time. We'll see if it holds true. But let's go through time. Here's what we're dealing with now. Look at this trough on the eastern half of the country. We've got a wind coming right up by the Hudson Bay, and it comes all the way down across the lakes, all the way down towards Mexico. This time of year, I usually don't see cool air in the isobar lined up directly from Canada all the way down towards Mexico. Usually there's some kind of cutoff in there, right? But this is just an incredibly cold air mass, especially for the southeast. They're cooler than average in Florida. Even Mexico's cooler than average due to this. Really impressive, the way this trough's kind of set up. All right, so we say goodbye to the trough. We are going to have some nicer weather set up by Tuesday afternoon. We'll get that lake effect out of here. We'll have nice, quiet weather around here. The wind starts to bounce back on Wednesday. It'll shift around to the southwest, so that's a warming wind. I think we'll warm our temperatures. We're probably talking 60s on Wednesday. Not a bad day. As we get into the latter half of the day, Wednesday, we'll increase clouds. Our next system comes in. And this is what sets up the weekend, all right? Pretty potent area of low pressure starts to get going off towards our north. So that'll bring some rain in here Wednesday evening on into Wednesday night. By Thursday, we're on the back side of this. See how this low's kind of moving out towards the east? It's developing even further, so it's strengthening. And we've got a lot of showers around, all right? So we're talking rain moves in here sometime late Wednesday, like probably Wednesday evening, Wednesday night. And then the system goes by and we're getting kind of wraparound moisture, kind of like we just did over the course of your Thursday. But how does this evolve with another area of low pressure down to the south? That's the big question. If this was wintertime, we'd be talking about probably a major winter storm developing somewhere in the eastern half of the country with this, right? Look at this trough that digs out towards the east. You're tapping into cold air. And what this is going to do is spin up some kind of big area of low pressure. And I like the Euro. The GFS picks up on this too, but I like the Euro because it has a more of a broad area of low pressure. It's not a real tight packed one. But you see what it's doing here. This is Friday into Saturday. Some kind of low is really getting ramped up out towards the eastern seaboard. We've got a strong northeast wind that's developing. Sounds familiar. It's kind of like this last system we dealt with. And we're dealing with lake effect rain. All right. That's so Wednesday into Thursday, we're dealing with system rain. And then by Friday, this is mainly lake effect rain or lake enhanced rain with some leftover system rain. Either way, as of right now, it looks rainy around here. I'm not locked in on this, all right? I'm locked in on the fact we're going to have a low this weekend out towards the east, but I'm not locked in and I'm not confident in saying that we're going to have a lot of rain around here and that the moisture is going to be this far west, all right? I could see this whole thing kind of shifting out towards the east a little bit and kind of leaving us a little drier for next Saturday and Sunday. Just keep that in mind. I don't think it's a total loss. But as of right now, the Euro has some real decent rain around here of the lake effect variety next Saturday, and it does clear us out Sunday as this monster low gets going up and down the East Coast. It's going to be all rain for them. It's going to be all rain, even up in the higher elevation, the Green and White Mountains, as you get up into areas of Maine. It all looks to be rain right now. Again, if this was a month later, this would be a big winter storm as that heads up into Canada. And then after that, all indication is by October 23rd, 24th, 25th, sometime in that time range, all indication is we have a nice little warm up behind the system. All right. Most of the long-term modeling and the shorter-term modeling is, well, the shorter term in terms of the global models, all of it's kind of agreeing at that. So we would have some nice kind of warming trend, 60s, maybe 70s. We'll see. But it would be a multiple day stretch of some warmer weather out ahead of whatever this system is right here. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at. In terms of temperatures, this is your national blend of models. This is basically, it takes every model that's out there. It just takes the averages of those. It does weigh them heavier based on how well they've been doing. So let's say the Euro's been performing better on temperatures. The national blended model is flexible like that, where it will take, 80% Euro, 20% GFS, whatever happens to be. It takes a bunch of other ones too. But this is basically your average temperatures on the models. It doesn't mean it's right. This is the area right here, though, that I think be able to bump these temperatures up a little bit. Again, the 23rd, 24th, 25th, so a week from tomorrow, we may have a nice warm up in there. And you can see there's no real cold temperatures, but there's nothing really close to average. Our average is in the mid 60s this time of year, and we're talking mainly 50s outside of a Wednesday, Thursday bump this week, okay? So that's kind of what we're dealing with weather-wise as we go through not just the rest of October, because actually, let me show you GFS real quick because this only goes to the 25th. So I did want to show you the rest of that. There's no snow in the forecast through the rest of the month as of right now. Okay, so there's that. I'm on snow watch for you. Okay, so here's the GFS. This is where it picks up with this weekend system. It's very similar. Big low out towards the east, lake effect rain around here. Just a windy kind of raw weekend upcoming. Okay. Do we get rain and wind with that? That's the big question. I'm kind of doubtful the rain's going to be around here this weekend. I think it'll be further east, but again, we'll see what happens. Low pressure still with us Monday. GFS now brings us up to the 25th. This also agrees a nice warm up. This is all southwest wind across eastern half of the country. We're on the backside of a high. So that would be a nice warm up. When does the next front hit? GFS says the 28th. This would probably change our pattern a little bit. And you can see how we do turn colder with snow close by, but no snow in the forecast. This right here, this is an early look. This would be trick or treat for all of our Saturday trick or treat communities, the 28th. We'd have some kind of frontal boundary around here, may have rain. Who knows on the timing of that? Again, this is Fantasyland. And then this itself is Halloween. All right. It has some rain around here with cooler temperatures for the rest of the weekend. And then Halloween's on a Tuesday this year. So we'd have warming temperatures Monday, Tuesday. So at first look at this, again, the Fantasyland and the models, that at first look, we would have rain around on Halloween, says the GFS. We'd probably have temperatures in the mid to upper 50s is what it looks like right now. Okay. We'll see where that goes. But you notice the map is getting a lot colder. It's always crazy, the transition this time of year when we go from the warm looking weather map to all of a sudden you've got these chunks of cold with snow on them. And it happens quickly. And boy, we're going to get there quickly. Okay. All right. So let's get to your questions. If you guys have any weather questions, I appreciate you bearing with me with the technological sound issue at the beginning of all this. And as always, I wanted to make sure we got our sponsors in as well, because I'm not sure when that cut out, but just support them if you get a chance. They are all wonderful family-owned folks, which is great. So let's see. Let me get your comments here. Tyler says, I know you hate long range, but November looks cold. It does, Tyler. I've been looking a lot at not just the different long-term models, but some of the blogs of some of the meteorologists I follow, and everyone's kind of on the same page with that it looks like we're going to have a pretty cold start to winter around here. We'll see if we do or not. Long range is a very fickle thing. And you can generalize it a lot as well, but it does look to be, we do look to get some real impressive cold shots in November, just the way the pattern's setting up. So there's that. Hi, Russ. Izzy says last winter was so depressing here. We got just a dusting all winter. Izzy, last winter was ridiculous. I remember we had a snow hole at one point where it was like a 30-day snow hole over Indiana, where everyone else around us had seen snow. The last couple winters just haven't been that impressive. We've had a couple storms in there that have brought, some decent snow, but nothing crazy. To me, the biggest change has been lake effect. We've seen hardly any big lake effect snow events, in the last, 4 or 5 years that I can remember. So we'll see what happens this year. It's always interesting heading into it because we can look at the models, we can look at the long term, and say, oh, it's going to be a colder than average winter with above average snowfall. And, it's just so vague. We have to take it week by week. We really do. We'll see. Let's see. Mark says dedicating the bridge Wednesday at 5 o'clock downtown Hobart. Mark, should be okay for that. There'll be some increasing clouds with that. We'll have rain moving in late, but I think it'll hold off for that. Should be a nice day into the 60s. So that's that. Let's see. Yeah, Amanda's getting the bees ready for winter soon. Summer goes too fast. Yeah, Amanda, it really does. It seems like you were just doing that. Isn't that crazy? It really does. Izzy D asks, how long does the National Blended Models look at a particular model to see how well it's performing, taking in models data? Izzy, I'm not sure on that. I had a chance to speak with the folks that actually put the model together, which is crazy. It was at a weather seminar, a meteorologist seminar that we had. And from all I have, I didn't ask that question, but from all I have in my notes is everything I told you, which is, I don't know I never knew as a meteorologist what went into the models, and are they changing them constantly? Are they constantly getting upgrades? Or are we just kind of leaving it to, the computer algorithms and stuff like that? And the National Blend was interesting that they do update. I don't know the frequency of it, but they do take into account what's been performing better, and they put a higher percentage of that into the blend. But still, I tend to lean Euro on all my forecasting. I really do. Even with highs and lows, it tends to be the most consistent. The National Blend has a GFS in there, and I'm not anti-GFS, but I'm pretty close to it. I mean, it's really just outrageous sometimes. And so let's say the GFS, for example, saw a warm-up next week. It may be saying 80 degrees for us, and we know it's probably not going to hit 80 next week, but that 80 goes into the blend or the averaging with the Euro and all that stuff. So your National Blend can still be a little bit inaccurate at times. I mean, we're aiming for 100% accuracy. Are we ever going to get it? Probably not. But it's just kind of interesting how all that works. Andrew, you're absolutely welcome. I appreciate you joining me tonight. Yeah, we'll see, Izzy. We'll see. Izzy, it looks like a real interesting, Izzy's in New Jersey on our YouTube channel. Izzy, it looks like a real interesting winter for you guys. El Nino storm tracks tend to go up the East Coast. And another thing we can look at is we can look at where systems are going in the fall, oftentimes, kind of what that storm track looks like. And that can be a precursor for where storms will most frequently go the upcoming winter. So we've already seen quite a few East Coast storms. I mean, you go up the coast just a little bit from you. I mean, you've had some rainy weekends, but especially in Boston, New England, they've just had a ton of rainy weekends in a row. They finally got a nice one. I think it was last weekend. But that's because of all these East Coast systems. And, if we keep this trend going and get colder air in here in November, December, we're talking some East Coast snow, which has been really, really not good over the last couple of years for sure. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I think that's it. Jackie sent a heart. Thanks, Jackie. Mike, you're welcome as well. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, we'll let you go. So that's kind of what we're dealing with this week. Just the Reader's Digest summary here. We've got lake effect that I think redevelops tonight. Models are kind of off on it, but I do think we develop lake effect rain tonight. I think we'll have some kind of lake effect around tomorrow into tomorrow night as well. We've got kind of a renewed fetch coming off the lake. It'll probably target eastern Illinois and Lake County before moving into Porter County with some rain tomorrow. We'll see how it evolves. It's lake effect, it's fickle, but again, I see a real good signal for that tonight into tomorrow that redevelops. Cooler, kind of crisp to start the week, more of the same. We'll eventually get the pattern moving. By Wednesday, we start to warm things up again. Wednesday's not a bad day. We bring in very, very late in the day some rain as it looks right now. That rain will stick around. Thursday as the low moves over us. Friday as the low gets going on the East Coast. And potentially Saturday. That depends on how far east that low is, but we'll see. But as of right now, the weekend, the one thing I am locked in on the weekend is it's going to be cooler again. It's going to be windy again. And it's just going to be kind of a raw weekend. Do we throw rain on that? That's going to be the big question, the thing we'll sort out this week. Okay. So there's that. I got a couple more comments here before we go. Jay says the pattern change has been dramatic. I'm just going to pull this up here, Jay. 10 days ago, it was 90. Now we're talking about snow not too far away. Do we see more of a trough continuing to set up? Yes, Jay, things do look below average for the rest of the month. Nothing crazy cold, though. That's the good news. This could be a lot worse. We've had snow at this time, multiple years. Not a lot, but some. But I don't see any of that. It's just going to be below average as it looks. That trough kind of reignites or redevelops as we go later in the month. Linda, you're welcome. Appreciate that. Izzy wants New Jersey snow, not New England. Yeah, there's a difference. But boy, any snow will just certainly come down heavy if you get a good nor'easter for you. D, you're welcome. Yeah, sorry, John. More rain, he says. Let's see. Jan is going to be in Sandusky with Chesterton Marching Band this coming weekend. Cool. Just wondering what the weather will be. So this upcoming weekend looks a little bit worse in Sandusky, Jan, unfortunately. It depends on the fetch of the wind. Normally, Sandusky doesn't get lake effect rain. All right. It's normally east of the Cleveland area. But with this low this weekend, it just depends on where the wind is. As of right now, it would be kind of a north wind, which would potentially bring some rain into Sandusky. So either way, I would plan, Jan, for some showers this weekend. It's going to be blustery. That wind's going to be off the lake. It's not going to be a great weather weekend, unfortunately, for the band. So there's that. John's been trying to get a dry day to get on the roof and clean his gutters. Oh, John, the leaves are still falling, my friend. So maybe just hold off on that, and hopefully we'll get one at some point. Izzy, you're welcome for sure. Julie, I will. I'll let you guys know when my wife has the baby. We are, and Linda, you too. We are on baby watch here for sure. I mean, literally any day. Baby's due in 9 days, but you know how that goes. So we'll see. I mean, every night, like we're just tonight. We'll see. Hopefully it's during the day, but again, we don't plan that. So I'll keep you updated for sure. All right, guys. Ann, you're welcome. Have a wonderful start to your week, everybody. We'll keep you updated as we go throughout the week. Okay. All right. Talk to you soon.